What if I get up there and do an incredible job? What if I blow the crowd away? Welcome to You 101, making choices today to become who you want to be tomorrow. Hi, I'm JL, and today we're going to talk about this thing called anxiety. You've probably heard a lot of talk about anxiety. Sometimes it can seem like it's more common to have anxiety than not to have it. Anxiety is a common response to stress. Stressors, things that cause us stress, can be internal, our thoughts, or external, our family, our life circumstances, friends, coworkers. The difference between stress and anxiety is that stress goes away once the stimulus is gone, but anxiety hangs around. You might be stressed about finishing a paper, or taking an upcoming test, or making your flight. But once the paper is turned in, the test is taken, and the flight is caught, you calm down. When you have anxiety, it lingers. It anticipates a future threat, not always helpfully. You continue to think about the grade you'll get on your paper, or those who are trying to catch a flight are now worried about how things are going to go at baggage claim. It just doesn't end. And everything is a possible source of anxiety. Anxiety is excessive worry that interferes with everyday life activities. When we feel anxious, it's because we want to avoid feeling uncomfortable. We want certainty, and life doesn't bring us much certainty. Let's identify two different kinds of anxiety: social anxiety and anticipatory anxiety. Social anxiety is fearing being judged by others during your everyday activities. Anticipatory anxiety is when you worry about how something that hasn't yet happened will turn out. Anxiety is highly treatable. It's also the most common mental health disorder in the country. The National Research Council found that 32% of teens currently experience anxiety on a daily basis. So, you know you're not alone. Anxious people are intolerant of uncertainty or the great unknown. They often assume the unknown will lead to a negative outcome, but positive outcomes are a possibility too. The most common fear people have is public speaking. Now, how many people do you think, before they're about to speak, say to themselves, "What if I get up there and do an incredible job? What if I blow the crowd away?" It doesn't happen. Anxiety is not something you can typically just snap out of. It has a variety of causes, and it often takes a variety of responses to reduce it. Anxiety can be biological, when your brain's low on serotonin or dopamine. Environmental, after stressful events like the death of a loved one, a pandemic, a divorce, or abuse. Learned, someone modeled it for you, or genetic. It's in your DNA. Years ago, I had to fly for my job. Every week, I'd drive to the airport and get on a plane. Every week at takeoff, I gripped the armrest of my seat so hard my knuckles turned white. Every week I did this. I'd be full of anxiety as I drove to the airport, as I waited to board, and as I endured takeoff. Then a strange thing happened. I'd say it was a funny thing, but it really wasn't funny at all. While traveling for work by car, I got into a serious accident. We're talking left for dead serious here. Clearly, I wasn't dead, but the other driver thought I was. Fast forward to my recovery and return to work. The next time I had to fly for work, I was shocked to realize I wasn't nearly as anxious about takeoff. What was going on? I had faced death in the form of a semi-truck heading straight at me and lived to tell it. Maybe flying wasn't as dangerous as that. In fact, statistically, car accidents are way more frequent and deadly than flights. Logic doesn't ever really cure anxiety, but facing your fears does. I inadvertently lowered my anxiety by accidentally facing an actual life-threatening experience. By the way, I am in no way suggesting a car crash as anyone's anxiety antidote. So what's the solution? Building self-confidence. It turns out the solution to anxiety is facing the very thing we are anxious about. There's a ton of research out there that says The one effective way to cure anxiety is to face it. The culprit in all this is the amygdala, an almond-shaped part of the brain. While the amygdala is there to help protect us, sometimes and often for those with persistent anxiety, it gives off false alarms. Our job is to learn to effectively determine when to pay attention and when to shush that alarm. Anticipatory anxiety is strongest before you do the thing that causes your anxiety. It's like the video of the girl at the top of the ski jump. She's terrified until she's ecstatic. You could think of anticipatory anxiety as your personal roller coaster ride. All the way up to the top, you might feel nervous, anxious, excited. Once you get to the top, suddenly it becomes exhilarating. You did it. Here's a few things to keep in mind. It takes about 15 minutes for anxiety to calm down. Tell yourself, I can make it 5 minutes. Then try saying, I did 5 minutes. I bet I can make it 5 more. Then you only have 5 more minutes to go, and by then, your anxiety will likely have passed. Your goal is to manage the anxiety, not eliminate it. A certain amount of anxiety keeps our brain checked into what's going on around us. So, what can you do to dissolve your anxiety? You can develop anxiety resilience. Here are 6 practical ways to tame an overactive amygdala. Number 1, take on challenges. This looks like deliberately facing uncertainty. What's a little bitty challenge you can take that will help you address your anxiety? It can be seriously tiny, like making eye contact with a stranger. Number 2, take a reasonable risk. What would a tiny risk look like for you? Maybe it's trying a new flavor of ice cream. Number 3, learn to manage stress better. What's a healthy way you can respond to stress? There are lots of resources for figuring this out. Healthcare professionals believe managing stress can lead to reduced anxiety. You want that. What's one healthy stress reduction technique you can try? We'll do another video on healthy ways to manage stress. Number 4, challenge yourself. Even when you don't feel like it, choose to work hard. Say to yourself, I can do it. You're going to feel great about yourself when you succeed too. And if you don't do it the first time or 3, hey, that's okay. You're trying. Number 5, know your triggers. A trigger is something that sets off your anxiety. What are your internal triggers? Your external triggers. Once you've identified your triggers, you can figure out how to avoid them or to manage yourself when you are triggered. Number 6, do some self-talk. Hey there, self. I noticed you're feeling anxious. That makes sense because you're about to do something uncomfortable. It's going to be okay. You can handle it. It's going to make you more confident. So, what could you say the next time anxiety brings itself to your attention? Hey there, anxiety. You are so dependable. I'm good though. I got this one. Or, I feel you, anxiety, and I'm going to do this thing anyway. We've reached challenge time. What kind of challenge you take will depend on what kinds of things you tend to be anxious about. Choose the challenge that challenges you. Easy is anti-helpful here. If you want to take a step, choose one of the 6 amygdala calming activities above to work on. Remember to keep it a tiny step. Find one you believe will have a big impact on you. What will be most helpful for you? Write down what you plan to do. Remember to say what you'll do, when you'll do it, and where you'll do it. You're ready for a leap. Depending on whether you're dealing with social or anticipatory anxiety, your actions will look different. Choose one of the 5 activities above. Now, what a logical second-level action would be for you? If you tend to have social anxiety and you choose taking a reasonable risk, you could start a conversation with someone you don't know. Go easy on yourself and start with someone really easy to talk to, like a small child in line at the grocery store or a senior citizen at the park. Take a deep breath and exhale. Now, if you're ready for a climb, this is going to be a pretty high-level challenge. Okay, I want you to think about setting yourself up for planned failure. That's right. What I mean is working on your anxiety by deliberately getting something wrong. This could be particularly helpful if you're a perfectionist. It could be giving a wrong answer in class, or ordering an ice cream flavor that's not on the menu, or shopping for shoes at an optical shop. Order a Pepsi product when you know they only carry Coke products. Choose a situation where you know going into it that you'll be messing up. The point is to experience a safe failure so your over-vigilant brain can realize that no catastrophe happened when you failed. The way out is through. You can do it. You can do hard things, and in fact, that's the only way you're going to ditch your anxiety. Go tell your amygdala who's boss. Please comment on what step, leap, or climb you're planning on taking, or come back and comment once you've tried something. Let me know how it went. By the way, I use these techniques all the time. Namaste.